came by boat on purpose. It felt like the right way to arrive. Stone houses, stone streets, stone walls. A city built out of patience. Third application. They finally said yes. I booked the ferry before I finished reading the email. No trees. I'd read that, but didn't believe it until I saw it. Wind that old doesn't let trees grow. An island you can only reach when the tide allows. The Norse chose places like this deliberately. A narrow stone path with the sea on both sides. Monks lived here once. Norse raiders came in. Now me. Norse longhouse, 10th century. The walls are waist high now. They were once tall enough to keep the wind out. These stones were laid by someone, not randomly with intention. I can feel the decision in the placement. I drew the floor plan before I took photos. Drawing forces you to look at what's actually there. She said I was drawing it wrong. I asked her how she knew. She laughed like I'd said something funny. She knew where the hearth was. I'd been looking at post holes for 2 hours and missed it. Orkney sunsets last for hours. The light doesn't go down, it leans. First night on site. My tent smells like peat smoke and salt. I haven't been this happy in years. The Vikings navigated by stars like these. No instruments, just sky and experience and the color of the water. She said, I have things to show you that aren't in your papers. I put my notebook away. The Ring of Brodgar, 5,000 years old. The Norse came here and built their gods on top of gods that already existed. Cold, rough, wet with morning dew. Whatever it was built for was built to last. A house that had been in an argument with the wind for centuries and won. She put it on the table like it was still alive. She pointed at open ocean and told me someone had sailed it 1,000 years ago and reached America. I already knew that. Outside in, they built the shell first and put the bones inside after. The opposite of everything I learned about construction. She handed it to me without a word. Her family name is Norse. She's not studying her ancestors. She is her ancestors. One map. Greenland to Constantinople, Iceland to Baghdad, all connected by one type of ship. The Norse didn't see this as an obstacle. They saw it as a road. That's the difference between them and everyone else. She pointed at open ocean and told me someone had sailed it 1,000 years ago and reached America. I already knew that. Hearing it here changed it. A piece of calcite. You can locate the sun through cloud by polarizing light. They crossed entire oceans with this and the stars. The stone splits light into two. You angle it until the image is aligned. That's north. I drew it 5 times until I understood how the streaks worked. Drawing is faster than reading for some things. Day 3 on site. Mud in my boots. Mud in my notebook. Exactly what I signed up for. I felt it before I saw it. Different texture. Wood preserved in peat for 1,000 years. Still had the iron nail hole. Nair, 1 word. She identified the ship type from a piece of wood the size of my palm. Nair for cargo. Longship for war and speed. They thought in ship types the way we think in tools. They called it the whale road. The ocean was a road with no signposts and no maps. Just memory and stars and the color of the water. She told it like it was recent. Like Leaf was her cousin. Maybe he is. The wind was physical. It had direction and weight. She gave me a piece of old oak. No explanation. I didn't ask for one. Some things don't need context. Oak, riven along the grain, not cut across it. Whoever shaped this understood what it. They were talking to the tree, not fighting it. I wrote about longships for 2 hours without checking the time. That's how you know it's real. It knew I was there. It knew I was watching it. And it let me... She said it like it was natural history. Huggin' and money, thought and memory still flying. I believed her. An old man fishing from the same cliff as his Norse great-great-grandfather. The water hasn't changed. The fish haven't changed. They hunted everything, but they understood limits. You don't kill all the seals or there are no seals. These are old. The deer in Orkney went extinct 1,000 years ago. A clinker-built fishing boat, modern, still the same overlapping planks, same construction principle. Same overlapping planks, same clinker logic. Whoever built this knew the same thing as whoever built the ship that brought the Norse to Orkney. My grandfather could tell the weather 3 days ahead by watching cloud shapes and wave patterns. He said his father taught him. 5,000 years old. Older than Stonehenge, older than the pyramids, and still here. Stone dresser, stone bed, central hearth. 5,000 years ago and 2,000 years ago and today. A stone dresser, oldest furniture in the world, still standing. They put their important things here, same as us. The beach where the storm in 1850 uncovered Skara Brae. I've been in this field for 5 years. I've never felt small in the right way before. Here I felt it. She smoked the fish the way the Norse preserved everything, peat, smoke, and salt. The same method that fed people on longships crossing the Atlantic. She didn't explain the food, just put it down. Smoked fish, dark bread, broth, a Viking's provisioning, Orkney ponies. Norse brought horses to Orkney 1,000 years ago. These are their descendants, still eating the same heather. I've learned, don't reach, let them come. It works the same in Orkney as it does in South Dakota. Warm breath on my hand, same moment as South Dakota. Different continent, different century, same moment, 6 meters tall. The effort required to stand this stone before metal tools. The certainty required to believe it was worth that effort. We stood there until the sun was gone. Neither of us had anything to add to that. The fishing boat, the pony, the smoked fish, the loom weight, all the same 1,000-year thread that can trace it now. The raven came back, just once, flying through, thought and memory. Odin said, I held the stone in my tent and tried to read it. Still can't, she said. You'll know when you need to. I'm working on it. Last day on site, we covered everything back up. That's the job, uncover, record. Last look, 1,000-year-old heart. Someone lit a fire here every day for decades. That happened and then was forgotten. She came to the dock. She didn't have to. She came anyway. A small wooden box, Norse knotwork. Inside, the oak piece and the runestone she'd already given me. She wanted them together. She said, there's more to find. That's not a goodbye, that's an assignment. I packed it between my notebooks, the most important thing in my bag and also the smallest. Stromness getting smaller. She didn't wave. Orkney people don't wave, they just watch until you're gone. Orkney gets smaller and smaller, and then it's just the horizon, and then it's in your field notebook, and then it's in you. Back in Edinburgh, samples on the bench. The dig is done. The work is just starting. HES 08906, Norse loom weight, 10th century. Whoever held this last before me had been waiting 1,000 years. One family, 10 people maybe. Livestock in the east end, hearth in the center. The raven came back to the site after you left. She wrote it like it was data. It was Edinburgh rain, the same weather the Norse knew. Scotland has always been wet, and the Norse came anyway. I found a recording of Orkney ravens, played it in my Edinburgh flat. The same sound, completely different room. Academic paper, HES 089, Norse longhouse, mainland Orkney. Norse carved box on my Edinburgh desk. Same morning light. I handed the samples over to Archive. HESO89. 1,000-year-old loom weight. I keep seeing the Ring of Brodgar. The way the stones looked at sunset. Memory improves things. But I think Brodgar can afford that. 3 things. Prairie soil from South Dakota. Caribbean madras from London. Norse oak from Orkney. I booked the return ferry without thinking about it. That's how you know something has changed. I'm learning to read it, slowly. 3 characters deciphered so far. It might say something about a ship.
The wind's loud, but I wanted you to see this trench. We found some incredible late Pictish pottery.
The oak piece in afternoon light. I can see why they rived it rather than sawed it. The grain runs the full length of the plank. I put the wooden box on the lectern. 20 students looked at it. I told them about the loom weight and the clinker wood and Astrid. Second time, same road to Stromness, but I know what's on the other side of the water now. Same ferry, same wind, different me. The boat doesn't notice. The sea doesn't notice. I do. Orkney in the mist. Again, this time I recognized the cliff shape before I could see the name on the map. She was at the dock. Of course she was. She said there's more to find. There always is. Brodgar in spring. Same stones. The grass came back. The birds came back. I came back. Clinker built the hull, flexes, instead of breaks. They understood what the ocean needed from a ship. The longhouse ruins. The Milky Way the Norse navigated by a raven on the wall. Thought and memory. Still working. I spent tens of hours bringing Wren into the Viking world. And along the way, I uncovered so much more than just history. Longships, clinker construction, narrow trade ships, solar steam, the sunstone. And none of that lives in Wikipedia the way it lives here, in this video, in this moment. I worked hard to make this feel alive, emotional, and unforgettable, so you could experience it in the most beautiful way possible.